All right, good. Thank you for joining us for Google Jamboard and putting those assignments in Classroom for students to interact with. If you're joining us for this live stream, please join the Google Classroom code you see on the board. And in the stream, you will see a link to the Eduphoria workshop course. Go ahead and register for that when you get a chance, and so I can get you credit for attending this session. I'm going to go to the next screen to talk about what we're going to do today, and the code will still be on the screen. So just a quick recap, Google Jamboard is pretty much a new product by Google, and it's their version of an interactive whiteboard. There are pen tools, there's sticky note tools, you can paste images in there. The images can be moved around, students can move them around. People, you can share the board with colleagues or with students, and multiple people can interact with the board, just like other Google products. We're going to take a look at some of the features of the Jamboard, and then lastly, we're going to assign a Jamboard in Google Classroom and give a copy, make sure each student has their own copy. We're also going to look at it from giving all the students access to the same board to create a, if you remember Padlet, where you could put comment boxes all on one screen, and we can create that same kind of environment within a Jamboard. To start out our session, we're going to be in our classroom, and I'm in as a student as well. And so in the student view, we're going to go under the classwork tab, and we're just going to interact with a board that I made and just get accustomed to some of the features, whether it's a student point of view or a teacher point of view. And so under classwork, we're going to go to the assignments topic and choose the practice board, and then go ahead and click on that link right there, that thumbnail, and go ahead and open up your own board, and we're going to interact with it together. So you may want to switch back and forth between tabs, interact with the board and listen to me, and then I may have you come back to my screen and show you where some of these tools are. But our first activity we're going to work with is the pen tool. And we're going to do this maze. And so if you look over on the left-hand side, you have some tools. Oops, hang on, a truck's coming. All right, there we go. And we have tools on the left-hand side, and the very top tool, the very top icon is the pen tool. Hi there. And you can choose different pen options. There's 4 different pen options, and all you have to do is click and hold just a little bit for those pen options to show up. And then you have 6 different colors. So pick your pen choice, your pen tip. You have a pen, marker, you have a highlighter, and a brush. And pick one of your options. Just don't pick white for this one. And select your pen tool and try to go through the maze. And to write on the board, you simply do a left click and then start moving your mouse around and see if you can't make your way through that maze. Yes, you can go through the black lines if you want. It's not that kind of maze that won't let you do that, but try the best you can to not get on the black lines. And then maybe try a different pen color, maybe try a different pen type. See the different variations between the highlighter and the marker and even the brush. But hopefully you're able to make it all the way to the finish. It's not a hard maze. I just wanted you to interact with the pen tool and use those different options, those different tools. Now, the reason why there is a white pen, you may be thinking, why is there a white pen? Well, you can change the background and make it an all black background or even a blue background. And that button is at the top right underneath the Jamboard icon and your name and the title of this Jamboard. We click on background, and you can choose different options. And you can choose a black background, but then my maze goes away. But then the white pen shows up really nice on that black background. All right, we're going to go to the next activity, and that's the next slide. And at the top of the Jamboard, there's a fraction, a 1/5. And you can either do the drop down arrow below the 1/5 to see all the boards, or you can simply do the arrow on the right hand side to go to the next activity. And this is just a sorting activity, and all it is just drag the coins to their correct value. And we have to make sure that we have the arrow tool. So on the left hand side, it's the third one down. Make sure you choose the arrow tool and you simply drag the coins to their correct location. But they're all going behind the other box. I wasn't expecting that. As soon as I clicked another one, the other one went behind. So I may need to have a different box right there. Next time I'll make a transparent box or something. So that didn't work like I planned, but maybe instead of screenshotting a box right there, you just draw a box with the pen tool and then put 25 cents, and then it will show up. So I'm going to try that instead. And then I can simply delete that green one. And then so now I can move my coins over there. So I'd probably have to do that with each box. But all these coins, they're just screenshots. And I just did a screenshot and then pasted this multiple number of coins in here. So then the students can interact with that and move those coin pieces around. I'm going to go to slide 3. And so if you'll join me on slide number 3, we got a plant cell. And we can use the pen tool and the sticky note tool to label these parts of the plant cell. And I think the only one that I know is the nucleus. And so I can take my pen tool, probably want to do a red or a black, and I can draw a line. And then the sticky note tool is the 4th icon on the left in that little toolbar. And you have different choices of your colored background of that sticky note. So you just pick your color, type what you want on that sticky note, click save to make the sticky note go to the screen. But then it wants you to keep doing sticky notes. So you have to do save and then cancel. So I'm going to click save and then I click cancel, and then I can move that sticky note where it matches the line. If you know other parts of that plant cell, awesome, and you can keep labeling away. I think that's about the only one I know. Oh, I know cell wall. I can do cell wall too. So I can pick a different color, label that out, put a sticky note. I can change colors. Oops, it wasn't typing. Remember, it's a sticky note. You have to click save and then cancel to get out of it. And then I can label my parts that way. All right, let's go to slide 4. And slide 4, we're going to take our images and we're going to build a food chain. And then I also have a question prompt in here. And so we can use a sticky note like a text box. So the first thing is we'll move our organisms around to create our food chain. And our instructions tell us to be sure to use arrows. And if you're familiar with 5th grade science, we're going to have some arrows that show the flow of energy. And then our question down here says, what do the arrows show? Add a sticky note for that answer. And so our students could simply add a sticky note. They could pick whatever color they want and then answer the question. And remember, sticky notes are a 2-step. Click save and then click cancel. And then we're going to go to our last slide, and I did add some math in here. And it tells us to solve for the missing side of the triangle. And this is the Pythagorean theorem. And so it's a squared plus b squared equals c squared. And so you could use your pen tool to work out that math. You probably want to make sure you use the pen tool. And so it'd be 4 squared plus 6 squared equals question mark or c. And you can simply work out the math right there on the Jamboard. If you have a touchscreen Chromebook, it works really nice because then you can just use your finger and write on the screen with the pen tool. So we're going to be done with this assignment, and you might be in the middle of working that problem because you're really curious what the missing angle is, but we're going to turn it in. And so this will be really from the student's perspective. If you do assign something in Classroom this way, the students, they would have to close the Jamboard out. And in their Google Classroom, I didn't actually go into the assignment, but they're going to have to click View Assignment to find that Turn In button. And then they click Turn In, and then they have to click Turn In again. So it's a two-step process. Turn in, and then turn in again. So as you're turning that in, I'm going to switch back to my teacher view. Check and see if we have any comments or questions so far. Nope, looking good. All right, thank you, Thomas, for adding Bethany to the class. So from the teacher point of view, once a student turns in a Jamboard, the teacher will go back to their assignment. And I have some that have turned it in, so let's check those that have turned it in. I'll go to Bethany here. And right away, I can see the student's work, but I can't interact with it. I can't put any sticky notes. I'm not actually in Jamboard. It looks like I'm looking at a PDF. And so if I wanted to go in there and actually provide some comments or sticky notes or some writing for the students, I would have to click Open with Jamboard. And it would open it back up, and then I could go to the slide that I was looking for, wanted to add a comment to, and then provide some feedback for the students. I could leave them sticky notes. I could put check marks, and then close it out, and then the student's going to get that feedback on there. And I could provide them a comment of check your board again, or check out slide 5. Whatever kind of feedback you wanted to give those students. So I have one more for you. And while y'all are turning that in, I'm going to go and create one more assignment. And this time we're going to do, we're all going to be in the same board at the same time. And we're going to create kind of like a Padlet where everybody's going to put a sticky note about something they liked so far about Jamboard. And for this particular assignment, I'm going to choose students can edit, so all of us can be in the same board. Now, if I wanted students to have their own board, I would choose make a copy for each student. But this one, to create that Padlet type where everybody's going to put a sticky note, put a response at the same time, we're going to do edit. And so let me go ahead and sign that. Oop, have some comments here. So the work they say will be saved automatically. Yes, it will. Just like, oh, and I see Miss Miles there. I think Miss Miles started using this with some of her kindergarten students, and maybe she can put a comment in there and provide some feedback about how it worked in kindergarten. I'm going to switch back to my student view. And I'm going to go find that new board. Here's all at the same time. So hopefully we can all get in about the same time. Oops, here's one up here. So it tells us to add a sticky note and tell us something you like about the board. Oh, we have some more joining. Look at all these people that are joining in. Sorry, somebody's weed eating outside. I hope you can still hear me. While y'all are doing that, I'm going to grab a headset and microphone. Sorry, I'm back. The weed eater noise was getting pretty loud. All right, so you just simply add a sticky note. And if you are going to do this with your students, you may have them put their initials on each sticky note, so you kind of know who made the response, or you could leave it anonymous and let nobody know anybody's answers. But remember, for a sticky note, it's save and then cancel, and then you can move it around. So look, we've created this Padlet type board within a Google product. I'm guessing this is Miss Miles here. Post activity for math textbooks. Good, is very easy. I'm guessing the kindergarten students had a very simple time writing on this. I think the one that Miss Miles and I worked on was counting coins, and then they wrote numbers in there, and so I'm sure they had a great time with that. Oops, somebody changed the background on us. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and close out of my board. I'm going to go back into a teacher mode, and we're going to look at a brand new board from the beginning. And so there's actually two ways to get to Jamboard. The first way is under the New button from my Google Drive, and then choose More, and then we have Jamboard listed right there. It has the orange icon. You could also go to a website called jamboard.google.com, and it's very similar to slides.google.com. It'll list all your Jamboards here, and to start a new board, you simply click on the orange plus in the lower right-hand corner. So we're just going to start a brand new board from scratch. And just like any other Google product, it's a good idea to name them. And again, so walking through just some of the features here, we have, I'm going to start at the top. We can change our background, and we have different options. We have some grid dots. We have some handwriting lines. Unfortunately, you can't expand the width of those lines, and you're kind of stuck with that width. We have some grid, which could be useful for math. We have a dark grid, then we have a blue and also a black color. So a little bit of options. Now there's no way to put an image as your background. You're only stuck with these colors right now. So hopefully Google will do more with this product and allow you to put a background image in. So again, just a refresher on some of our tools. We have our pen tools, and you have 4 different options and 6 different colors. The eraser tool would erase any writing on the board. However, the eraser only comes in one size, and it's pretty small, and it takes a little while to erase a whole bunch of writing. You're better off using the clear frame button, but caveat is that it'll erase everything, even your images.
I did it.
Hang on. What's up?
I did it.
You did?
Mm-hmm.
All right. High five.
One of them.
All right. Did you do the maze?
One of them.
All right. Have one of my little helpers here. So again, if you use the clear frame button, it'll clear everything out, even your images. I found it handy to just start a brand new board from scratch rather than trying to erase or clear anything out. If you'll click the right arrow at the top, it'll just add a fresh board for you. There's also a board navigator. Right underneath the fraction of what board you're on, there's an expand view, and you can easily add more frames or more boards using the blue plus. Back to our tools, we have our select tool or our mouse arrow. This is the tool that we use to move images or sticky notes around. Below that is our sticky note tool, and we have these select colors. And remember, it's a 2-step process. You click save and then click cancel. Below that is your image. You can upload an image, but honestly, it's just a lot easier to copy and paste. You can screenshot, copy it, and then paste it right in here, or you can simply upload an image from your Google Drive. Hopefully this microphone is drowning out some of that weed eater noise. The last tool here that we didn't do earlier is a laser tool, and it acts very much like a pen tool, except it disappears after about a second. And so as you move it around, it just slowly disappears. I don't know if you had a chance to catch any sessions I did on Monday, but we talked about how to use a Jamboard with a student during a Google Meet. And you may want, I'm more than happy to email you one of those recordings to see how you can use Google Meet and Google Jamboard to create a small group session with your students during remote learning. I'm going to add a couple images here. And I found one, let's see, in 3rd grade. I was, let's see, I think I went the 5th week here. Uh-oh, I'm getting a message, am I right? Okay, Thomas, let me know. Thank you, Thomas. All right, where did I find that? 3rd Monday, had a brain pop page. All right, so here's, no, that wasn't it. Must print. No, I had, here it is, okay. So I can use this, and I'm going to screenshot this. Sorry about that noise. And there is no right-click paste. Even if I'm on the select tool, there is no right-click paste, so you do have to use Control-V. So in this particular assignment, looking at this PDF, it says describe each of the following scenarios. Here's the cause, and then there's the effect. And so I would have students put a sticky note as their text box response instead of trying to write it out with the pen. And I would, you can add a sticky note here to give those directions. And when adding images, if you notice, there are different dots to move, but this one in the upper left doesn't expand the image, it only rotates it. And so I know that can be a little frustrating at first. Luckily, Control-Z or undo still works, and there's also an undo button up here. But I find it handy to put the image where I want it, or the sticky note, and then expand it with the bottom right button. And this is, the students would just simply add their sticky notes there. Of course, you can put math problems for students to work on. Let's see, we had a Tuesday, reading, writing, think it up. And so I'm going to take a screenshot of this little passage right here. And remember, I have to use Control-V. Sorry about that noise. Drag my image where I want it to go, and then use the one on the bottom right to expand it. And probably what I have the students do on this one is to highlight key ideas in the passage. And they can use the pen tool, switch to the highlighter, pick their color, and they can highlight right on top of the text. And of course, math problems are super easy, and they can use their pen tool here. Well, that one didn't have any math problems on it. Where is the one with math problems? So I could take this page right here. Sorry, here comes the loud noise again. Heads up. And here I have the directions, and then the students could write their answers or use a sticky note right there. And so really there's so many possibilities with this program. I want to end today's session back in our Google Classroom, and underneath the resources tab or the topic, I put a first day of Google Jamboard tips. And basically this is a link to a Google help page. And I want to show you some of the features here because it may be a good reference for you. As we scroll down, there are definitely some videos that you could watch. Now, a lot of these are going to come from the perspective of having an actual Jamboard, which is an interactive display that Google makes, which works in conjunction with this program. But we can use it on a Chromebook or a computer really easily. But underneath the getting started, there's some sample Jamboard exercises, and if you download this PDF, it has some great examples of ways to use Jamboard with your students. And you can just scroll down and see all the different topics in there. You know, of course, math problems are in there. Annotating on passages are in there. There was some even that had pictures of student examples. Look, there's the triangles one I stole. Here's creating a dot plot with Jamboard. Here's working math problems. There was another one here. We're going to make an illustration, make a cover for a book. And then here's one for story components where they can actually write on it. And so there's a lot of great features. And so just like any other Google product or any other classroom assignment, you can use Jamboard and assign a copy to each student. And you would simply go to create an assignment, give it a title, provide instructions if you wanted to. And just like docs or slides or forms, we would go to add and then choose Google Drive. Pick our Jamboard, and we can recognize it by that orange icon. Then click add. And more than likely, you're going to want to make a copy for each student. That's pretty important, so they're not editing all on the same board. That could become very chaotic unless you're trying to create that Padlet type environment where everybody puts their own sticky note on there. But you'd want to make a copy for each student. And remember, it's always good to stay organized in our classroom and use our topics, and then click assign, and then the students can access it. So in review of our session, we had just talked about the new platform, Google Jamboard, which is Google's interactive whiteboard. We looked at some of the features. The main features are your pen tool and your sticky note that you can add. You can add images. You can either upload them or use copy and paste. And you can definitely assign these Jamboards in classroom. So I hope you have found this productive, and I hope you have found this useful. If you run into any trouble with anything, please contact your campus ITS, put in a help desk ticket, send us an email. Just let us know how we can help. So that we're going to end our time here. Please make sure if you joined us in this live stream that you register in Eduphoria, and we can get you some credit for attending this session. I appreciate your time, and I want to thank Mr. Nichols for managing any comments and helping people get registered during this session. Y'all have a great afternoon, and let us know how we can help.